This is TWiT.
Goodness gracious. Well, what should we start with? We should start with the phones.
Yeah, let's do the phone.
Okay,
or you've got both of them? Do you have both of them?
Oh, I have 3 of them right now. 2 that are Google's and 1 that is mine. Guess which one I bought?
The smaller. You bought the 7, not the 7 Pro.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Did you read my Twitter?
Guess. No, I
probably. Spoiler.
That was a total guess. But I mean, I probably would have gone with the 7 and not the 7 Pro if it didn't have like the camera stuff, which is the same thing that kept me from going with the 6 versus the 6 Pro last year, is having that extra camera. So.
Yeah. So I got to tell you, like, the macro capabilities, the telephoto lens that they added onto the Pixel 7 Pro is fantastic. It is clear when you zoom in, but even with like the super res zoom, which is this new feature that software helped feature that they introduced to the 7 and the 7 Pro. On the 7 Pro, the super res zoom actually engages the high optical zoom. So the telephoto that you have, I could just show you. The telephoto is built in right here. And this module is the telephoto right here. And then this over here is the regular camera system, the primary camera system that you would also see in the 7. Let me get my 7. This is the 7. This is the back. This is how you tell the difference between them. So I was going to get my phone, but then my mechanic called while we're in the middle of this show. There's a lot going on today, folks. I didn't feel the need to buy the Pro this time around and spend the extra $300. You do get the bump up to 12 gigs of RAM, and then you get a bigger 5,000 milliamp battery. And I'm actually still running through the battery test on these phones because Google says you get 24 hours with them. And I managed 22 hours with the iPhone. But the problem is that I've been doing all this testing. I haven't had time to like leave the phones to do the tests that they need to do. So that's kind of like the last thing I need to do this week to get a real assessment. But so far, things are pretty good on the battery end. So
in general, is it seeming like is it pretty standard that companies overinflate their battery performance? Like if they're saying it's 24 and then you get 22, is that the process that you're using, or is that them not being honest? You know what I mean?
It's the process that I'm using. I hope I'm remembering the iPhone one right. It could have been not 22. Regardless, it was almost as long as Apple promised, and it was really impressive. But I'm talking about just like internal Gizmodo benchmark numbers that I've done. And we just kind of do this to get a lay of the land of how things sort of perform relative to each other. Not so much. But at the same time, like OnePlus phones, for instance, have had, we last this long, or Xiaomi phones. And I found that's like not the case because of whatever reason. So a lot of factors play into that. But that's also why I bought the 7, because I didn't want to deal with like 120 hertz display. I didn't need that slightly bigger size, and I didn't need the telephoto.
Okay.
It's perfectly fine.
See, I feel like the telephoto, as far as like a camera feature, for me is like indispensable. I use it all the time. And I realize when I don't have it, when I go on a camera to zoom in on something, and then I look at it later and it's got all those crunchy digital artifacts because it was not an optical telephoto. So that just gets me every time. That's like in my mind of like features that a company can include in their premium to entice you to get the premium instead. Like it's super effective for me. But I mean, obviously everybody has different things they're looking for.
Yeah, but also that's a really good point, because when I was writing my review, I was thinking like, okay, I used to go to concerts more often, like pre-pandemic, but now I'm a parent and I'm at this stage of parenting where it's like not as often. So I can go without a macro, like I can go without getting up close, because the pictures that I'm taking right now at this point of my life is mostly so I don't forget things, so I can look back on my life, it's not, I'm not as like, and the other stuff that I use the camera for, like I do make TikToks. The Pixel 7 is perfect for that. It's, you don't really need a super high resolution lens.
No.
People do it with like the iPhone SE and cheaper phones. So it's just good enough. And I'm still going to get all these great photos of Mona. But the other thing is that I have the privilege of being able to borrow this phone from Google. So I didn't want to spend the extra $300 just for that capability. That's just a lot of money. It's a lot of extra money.
That's kind of that's the perfect litmus test, right, for reviews.
Yeah.
Is that, and the reality is a lot of us get review hardware from Google or whatever company, right? Like it's just the way the industry works. This time around, I didn't get review hardware from Google. But I also didn't spend my own money on this phone, right? It came out of the TWiT credit card, right? It's kind of part of the business expense. So I guess at the end of the day, if you are a tech reviewer and you actually are in a position where you need to buy your phone, what is that phone? That says a lot that you would save the $300, go for the 7, and that is absolutely perfect for you.
What's really funny about that, Jason, is because I was thinking about it earlier today, because I also have not gotten a review unit, and I'm still knocking on wood, holding on hope, because I do need to, because I do want to move on from my Pixel 6. I don't know if I've talked about we've talked about on the show how I've cracked the glass in the back, but also the cameras, one of the camera lenses are busted. Remember, I can only take pictures in telephoto, and that's what is the 0.7 lens, the wide angle lens.
That must be
so.
I think that's the wide angle.
Yeah, so actually, Flo, I was at a concert a week or two ago, and I couldn't zoom because it pops out of focus physically when I try to use the zoom lens, and so I'm like, crap. I do need a new phone, and I was actually thinking, I'm like, oh well, I went with the Pixel 6 last time, maybe I'll go with the 7 Pro this time around, like just to mix things up and to get the better camera and all stuff like that. But Flo, you're swaying me and making me think I can still stick with the 7 and save the money if I do have to purchase it myself.
Yeah, I mean, Ron, we're in the same situation, right? You want to have the best camera on you for the kids because
exactly, because
you just look at their pictures every single night before going to bed. How much they've grown.
It's true.
And I was living with the OnePlus 9 as sort of this self experiment that I put myself through to live with this kind of lower tier device, let's just say it that way, from another brand to see how that would age. And it didn't age very well. The camera just wasn't cutting it for me in these last couple of months, to the point that I was just carrying whatever review phone I had on me that was better so that I could take pictures of Mona that I didn't hate. I was like, you know what? The Pixel 7 is perfect for that. That's why people are picking the Pixel 6a, like the A series, because you're still getting the AI capabilities of that camera. So I feel like that's a good time for us to segue, though, to talking about the night sight a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Talk about it. Like I said, I literally got mine today. I have not had the chance to do anything with it other than set it up and log into my apps and everything like that. So I haven't even taken a picture on it yet. I'm super curious to hear about night sight. Yeah, tell us about it.
I mean, it's still the same great night sight. I just want to say that the Pixel 7 still takes the best night photos of any phone that I've tested this year. So,
well, that's solid.
There you have it.
Okay, well, there we go. That was easy.
That's it.
There it is.
Okay. You
Burke
got some
is
examples
showing
on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a perfectly timed. It was perfect timing for this Pixel review because I got to test it in both New York City and San Francisco. So, because I went to the opera in New York City, so I got to do my little night romp around the Lincoln Center and over there, and just kind of use the camera. And I was taking all these wonderful photos of the city at night. And then I came home and I got to romp around North Beach, and I was taking these gorgeous photos of North Beach in the fog and just catching the way the light sort of bounces off the fog. And I'm just still so impressed that the Pixel does this, because that's the kind of stuff that's what you post to social media. You're just look at me. I went for a romp. I had childcare. Look.
It's not my living room again and again.
Yes,
and again.
exactly. Yeah. And a massive toys. So, again, this is like the best Android phone. This is one of the best Android phones that you can buy, but here's where it kind of like becomes a caveat for me, which is, have you guys noticed that there's a lot of very pixel specific features? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's been increasing year after year.
Premise,
kind of seems like,
right?
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Google adds its value. Why? Why is that curious to you?
Because I don't know if you guys saw the article that Ars Technica Ron Amadio had summarized there was a report that came out in the Information today about how Google is really focusing its efforts on hardware.
Yeah.
And tweaking the assistant so that it's working the best on its hardware. And it just really aligns with what we've been seeing with the Pixel, because when I initially went to go look at the Pixel, I actually went down to Redwood City before I went to New York City. And I got to chat with Google in sort of like a, one-on-one meeting when I was looking at the hardware. And I noticed a lot of the features that they were walking me through were, this is coming to the Pixel only. This is Pixel 7 first, coming to other Pixels later. And so I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, what about Samsung devices? What about OnePlus devices? What about all these other manufacturers that are still using Android? And it seems like Google is building its own garden of pixels.
Oh, a garden of pixels.
Ooh, I like that. There's an episode title.
Yeah, no kidding. Somebody write that down.
So, Flo, did you just come up with that on the spot, or did you come up with that previously? And did you prepare? Like, is that a prepared bit, or?
I've been thinking about it, and then I may have written it today in my Pixel Watch review.
All right, I'm deleting it from our episode title.
I came up with no. I didn't say garden of pixels. I just
okay. We just want to be clear here. Do we have
the scoop on the garden of pixels?
The lock on the garden of pixels.
Is this an exclusive, Flo? Can we have that as an exclusive?
You can have it as an exclusive.
Hey, we should talk Linux. It's the operating system that runs the internet, a bunch of game consoles, cell phones, and maybe even the machine on your desk. But you already knew all that. What you may not know is that TWiT now has a show dedicated to it, the Untitled Linux Show. Whether you're a Linux pro, a burgeoning sysadmin, or just curious what the big deal is, you should join us on the Club TWiT Discord every Saturday afternoon for news, analysis, and tips to sharpen your Linux skills. And then make sure you subscribe to the Club TWiT exclusive Untitled Linux Show. Wait, you're not a Club TWiT member yet? Well, go to twit.tv/clubtwit and sign up. Hope to see you there.